It's free education. And every third period, yo, we practice meditation. Like a brown Robin Hood, I'd take from the rich and I'd give to the poor. So my little sister ain't gotta be hungry no more. Your history books got it all wrong, so I come to you with a song. En 1810, con el gran grito de pasión, se levantaron con razón. Black and brown fighting together on a day I'll always remember. En el 5 de mayo, con el grito de gallo, black, white, and brown bleeding together.
Hello, I'm Grace Abron from the Puente State Office. It's my honor this morning to welcome you today to Puente's Transfer Motivational Conference, an annual gathering designed to support and motivate Puente students to continue on their important journey to higher education. Bienvenidos. Many of you joining us today are familiar with the Puente Project, but for those we are meeting for the first time, let me share a little bit about this program. Co-sponsored by the California Community Colleges and the University of California, the Puente Project's mission is to increase the number of underserved students who enroll in four-year colleges and universities, earn college degrees, and return to the community as mentors and leaders to future generations. Founded in 1981 at Chabot College in Hayward by co-founders Felix Galaviz and Patricia McGrath, we are so proud to share that Puente is now at 67 community colleges in California, 6 in Texas, and 1 in Washington State. We welcome our Puente faculty, the heart and soul of the Puente program. Our professors have dedicated their lives in service to their students. We see you, and we recognize the important work you do and the contributions you are making to your students' growth and development every single day. Today, we also welcome our families, our community mentors, our college staff and administrators who make a tremendous difference in students' lives. Today is an opportunity to recognize the challenging journey that you, our students, are taking. We want you to know that there is a whole community behind you and that we are with you every step of the way. Today is a special day of conocimiento and belonging. Through this conference, we want you to know that you, our students, belong here, in this community and in higher education. Today, you will meet several key individuals and universities who are here to support you and who echo our message that you belong and that you are welcome at the University of California. It is my pleasure today to introduce one such individual, Dr. Gary May, Chancellor at UC Davis. UC Davis Chancellor Gary May is a highly engaged leader with a passion for helping others succeed. He believes success is best judged by how we enhance the lives of others. Throughout his career, he's championed diversity, equity, and inclusion in both higher education and the workplace. He developed nationally recognized programs that attract, mentor, and retain underrepresented groups in the STEM fields of science, technology, engineering, and math. In 2015, President Obama honored him with a Presidential Award for Excellence in STEM Mentoring. Chancellor May earned his master's and PhD degrees in electrical engineering and computer science at UC Berkeley. He was inducted to the National Academy of Engineering, and his vision as UC Davis's 7th chancellor is to lead the university to new heights in academic excellence, inclusion, public service, and upward mobility for students from all backgrounds. Please help me give a warm welcome to Chancellor Gary S. May.
Thank you so much, Grace. On behalf of UC Davis, I'd like to welcome everyone to the Puente Transfer Motivational Conference. I hope you and your loved ones are all staying safe and healthy. I know these are very challenging times, but You're in for a great day, especially with Cornel West's keynote coming up shortly. I'm proud that UC Davis has hosted this conference since 2012. Many of the participants have found great success in college and also started their professional careers. I credit the Puente Project for helping them find their path. I know that many of you today are also bound for greatness as students and our leaders of tomorrow. Now, I recognize how difficult it might be to think ahead these days. I understand how hard it can be to stay focused and motivated when it seems like so much is going wrong in the world. Many of us have felt isolated since the COVID-19 pandemic arrived. We're worried about the economy and our future. Many of us are feeling frustrated and calling for systemic change and social justice in these polarized times. It's a lot to deal with at once, but we must push forward. I'm encouraged that you are all doing what you can with your enrollment in classes this term. This is a testament to your dedication to education and your future career. With your education and talents, you'll be the ones to help us shape a better tomorrow. We need your energy and your intellect to find solutions to our world's most pressing issues. We need your spirit of public service to build stronger and more equitable communities. But no matter what path you ultimately pursue, higher education will help you find a way. That's especially true throughout the UC system and especially at UC Davis. We're ranked among the nation's top 5 public universities. We're also a leader in the country for the social mobility of our students. That means we're helping our students find great success, not just on our campus, but beyond as they start their careers. We also believe deeply in the need for diversity. We're guided at UC Davis by principles of community to maintain a climate of mutual respect, equity, and justice. We value students of all backgrounds to create the most dynamic and intellectually vibrant campus possible. As a top research university with a public service mission, it's essential that our student body reflects the increasingly diverse population of California. 20 years ago, about 10% of our undergraduates were Latinx. Now that number is above 25%. I'm thankful to the Puente Project for keeping our pipeline filled with talented students. We're proud to host a Puente student club at UC Davis, and we're encouraged by the number of Puentistas who are enrolling at UC Davis. I hope that you will be one of them. But no matter where you decide to study, you're taking a great step forward, fulfilling your true potential. In the meantime, ask lots of questions, look for mentors, seek all the opportunities you can. All around you, people are rooting for your success and want to help. You can count me as one of those people. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Chancellor May, for your powerful words of support and encouragement. And now it is my pleasure to introduce you to Dr. Linda Villanueva from Lee College in Baytown, Texas. Now, Lee College is actually our flagship college in Texas as we began our expansion efforts. As Lee College's 10th and first Latinx president, Dr. Linda Villanueva believes that a strong campus is built around valuing everyone's individual contributions and caring for their well-being. She strives to model this belief in all of her roles on campus and in the community. As a leader, Dr. Villanueva builds high-performing teams based upon trust and transparency. As a partner to business and industry, Dr. Villanueva builds sustainable partnerships, developing the talent that regional employers require and that provide good jobs for our students. Dr. Villanueva is a passionate advocate for student success. She believes in the powerful potential of all students to grow into productive members of the community. She leads teams to serve all students, regardless of their backgrounds. Her work focusing on building student success agendas that equitably serve the whole student. Prior to her role at Lee College, Dr. Villanueva served as Provost and Vice President for Academic and Student Affairs at Brazosport College. Dr. Villanueva holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Psychology from Colorado State University, a Master's of Arts degree in Psychology from the University of Houston, and a Doctor of Philosophy in Industrial Organizational Psychology from the University of Houston. Please help me welcome Dr. Linda Villanueva.
Hello, it is such an honor to be here representing the great state of Texas. We're so pleased to be joining our partners in California and Washington. I want to welcome you with a poem that was inspired by students who spoke at Achieving the Dream. A poem that talks about where I am from, and I hope it makes you think about where you are from and where you are going. It is called I Am From. I am from. I am from my mother, Gisun Bay, who lost her home in a devastating fire, who never finished middle school, who was left alone when her parents died at the age of 50, and who put all her hopes and dreams in an army soldier who promised a better life in America. I am from my father, Juan Santiago Villanueva, dubbed El Rey by my abuela, the eldest child of 5, who grew up picking cotton in the fields of the Rio Grande Valley, and whose earnings went straight to his parents only to barely get by, who was so gifted he skipped 2 grades, and who, on the day he turned 18, caught the first bus out of the valley, the one called the U.S. Army. I am from parents whose love was fierce and whose passion burned strong until it ended in divorce when I was 8 and my brother was 5, leaving us with the stark realization that our lives would never be the same. I am from a mother who hitched her wagon to a poor alcoholic white man who lured her with the promise to care for her and her young children with candy and toys, only to inflict years of sexual and physical abuse against them, proving to them that the world was never a safe place. I am from endless cycles of leaving our abuser to filling out applications at the age of 10 for my mother, who could not read or write in English, to working cleaning jobs for wages that could not sustain us. And although we sometimes went to bed hungry, we never slept so soundly as we did when he was out of our lives, to succumbing to pleas of I've changed, I'll never hurt you again, back to whacks and caresses I should never have known. I am from moving 10 times by the time I was in high school, once living in Korea and separated from my brother for a year, leaving behind the only true friend I had. I am from my mother, who still works in cleaning jobs and whose worth is only felt by the collective sum of her children's success, who beams when she shows anyone who will listen. See this magazine cover? This is my daughter. She's the president of Lee College. I am from a handful of educators who taught me the joy of reading, who showed me how to play an instrument, who helped me to like algebra, and whose kindness said, Linda, you are special. You are worthy of your dreams, and I believe in you. I am from Colorado State University, where it took me 8 years to finish 1 degree, where I sat in large lecture halls surrounded by people who looked nothing like me, who skied their whole lives, and whose parents paid for their tuition while I took out large loans to care for my brother, never learning until the end how to be successful in college. I am from the University of Houston, where I earned my master's degree and PhD with friends who didn't know that it hurt when they joked that my lazy Mexican side was in constant conflict with my ambitious Korean side. I am from the University of Houston, where the day I taught my very first class, I knew I was destined to serve those who were not heard, surrounded by students who could see themselves in me and who discovered, if she could make it, maybe I could too. I am from Brazosport College, where I rapidly rose to the role of provost because I worked my tail off, volunteering to do anything that others wouldn't, creating a student success agenda that resulted in being recognized as one of the top 10 colleges in the nation by the Aston Institute twice, and where I worked with colleagues who shared my beliefs that students come first, that we would all serve students regardless of their backgrounds, and it was our job to create the ideal student experience. I am from a place where, when I told people I was Latina, they politely said they didn't see color. When I wanted to use the word equity, I was told, we shouldn't use that word because we don't want to upset anyone. I am from the Aspen Presidential Fellowship, a residency program for rising presidents, where I learned with the brightest leaders around the country and whose focus is to develop leaders who are singularly focused on creating equitable outcomes for the most underserved students and who speak unabashedly and value equity, diversity, and inclusiveness, and we're a new class of leaders who look, speak, and act just like you are taking the helm. I am from Lee College, where in its 86-year history, I am the first ethnic minority to serve as president, and where I am privileged to work with some of the most talented individuals who share my vision that Lee College will be the place where every student, no matter what their background, will feel welcomed and that they belong from the first day they show up on campus until the day they cross the commencement stage. And where, instead of celebrating exceptional students who have overcome barriers, we celebrate the absence of barriers and the success of all students. I have the honor of standing before you now at the most critical of times, in the face of a global pandemic, in a nation where white supremacy is supported while refusing to see the suffering of racial hatred by saying aloud that Black Lives Matter, a place where I carry your voices, our voices, on every platform I am given, where I tell those who are privileged that they will listen. They will listen to your dreams waiting to be heard, for they will not be pushed aside. When I was writing this welcome, I asked several people to review it for me. Much of the feedback they gave me questioned whether I really wanted people to know the kinds of details I shared with you. Did I really want to share that it took me 8 years to finish my degree, or that I was abused as a child, or that my mother still works in a cleaning job? In our society, we are taught that good people don't experience these things. We're taught that a person who spends 8 years getting a degree will never become a president. This type of shaming is wrong. It sets a clear and automatic expectation that successful people come from college-educated two-parent families who live in good school districts. This is the narrative that diminishes everyone who doesn't come from that supposedly ideal place. I am not ashamed. My parents loved me. My teachers cared for me. I had numerous professional mentors that guided me. I am not ashamed. And I'm not pretending that I didn't have the childhood that I had, good and bad. My strength and my purpose come directly from my journey. Now, where are you from? Do you worry that you don't belong in college? Do you worry that people look at you and wonder, why are you here? Do you think that you're the only person like you? All of the ways that you are different from the norm are your strengths. Do you speak Spanish? That's a strength. Do you feel caught between 2 or 3 cultures? Great, that's a strength. Are you from Texas? That's a strength. Embrace it. I'm here to tell you that you absolutely belong, and you owe it to our predecessors who struggled and fought just for the mere idea that someday you would live in a world where you have the opportunity to realize your dreams. You need to know that success is waiting for people just like you. And more than that, the world needs people just like you. I need people like you. I was asked to write a speech that inspires you. I want you to know that you inspire me, but you must find and use your own authentic voice to tell the world that your dreams will be heard. And I pray that God will show you the way. Thank you.
Thank you once again to Chancellor May and President Villanueva for their very strong and inspiring words. Thank you so much for mirroring so much of our experiences as Puente students. At this time, I want to acknowledge our Puente students in California, Texas, and Washington State. We're so fortunate to be able to bring everyone together in this forum. Even though we're meeting virtually today, we feel your excitement, we feel your energy, and we want you to represent your college, represent your Puente cohort. And so wherever you may be, when you see your college, when we do the roll call, stand up, make noise, and celebrate that we are here. Allen Hancock College, Cabrillo College, Cañada College, Cerritos College, American River College, Berkeley City College, Chabot College, Chaffey College, City College of San Francisco, and City College are from our Mission campus. College of Alameda, College of Marin, College of San Mateo, College of the Sequoias, Contra Costa College, Cosumnes River College, Cypress College, De Anza College, Diablo Valley College, East Los Angeles College, El Camino College, Foothill College, Fresno City College, Fullerton College, Gavilan College, Golden West College, Grossmont College, Imperial Valley College, Laney College, Las Positas College, Los Angeles Harbor College, Los Angeles Trade Tech College, Los Angeles Southwest College, Los Angeles Valley College, Long Beach City College, Los Medanos College, Merced College, Merritt College, Miracosta College, Mission College, Moreno Valley College, Mount San Jacinto College, Napa Valley College, Norco College, Ohlone College, Orange Coast College, Pasadena City College, Rio Hondo College, Riverside City College, Sacramento City College, San Diego City College, San Diego Mesa College, San Joaquin Delta College, Santa Ana College, Santa Rosa Junior College, Santa Rosa Junior College Petaluma Campus, San Bernardino Valley College, San Jose City College, Sierra College, Skyline College, Solano Community College, Southwestern College, Victor Valley College, West LA College, West Valley College, Yuba College. And now for our Texas Familia, Lee College, Lone Star College, Houston North, Lone Star College, North Harris Campus, Lone Star College, University Park, Houston Community College. And for our Washington cohort, Highline College. Puentistas represent. Thank you so much. It was wonderful to be able to see the breadth of and the reach of our Puente students and our colleges across 3 states. And that only happens through very strong leadership And in Puente, we are so happy that our leadership is comprised of two incredibly strong mujeres, Jane Alsop and Julia Vergara, and we thank them for their vision. Today, it is my honor to welcome Julia Vergara to the conference. In her current role as co-executive director of the Puente Project, Julia embodies the Puente mission and has helped shape what Puente is today. Our compañera, Julia, has been a mentor to many in the Puente community and has been with Puente for 25 years. She was among the first to launch the high school program across the state. Early in her career, she was a resourceful visionary who remained community-based. Today, she provides professional mentoring to support the growth of Puente teams throughout California, Texas, and Washington. She's a friend to Puente faculty and staff, as well as a community leader, an extremely hands-on leader, and is often in attendance and assisting with events throughout the state and across the country. Julia does not see her work in Puente as a job, but as part of her belief that there should be equity in education. Her vision for Puente includes working to increase transfer rates, especially for first-generation students. It is my honor to introduce you to Julia Vergara, co-executive director of the Puente Project.
Thank you, Grace. Welcome, Puentistas. I want to thank our partners, UC Davis, UC Berkeley, the University of California Office of the President, Community College Chancellor's Office, and all the Texas colleges. I have the very distinct honor of introducing our keynote speaker, Dr. Cornel West. Dr. Cornel West is a professor of the practice of public philosophy at Harvard University and professor emeritus at Princeton University. Cornel West graduated magna cum laude from Harvard in 3 years. He obtained his MA and PhD in philosophy at Princeton. He has written 20 books and has edited 13. He is best known for his classics, Race Matters and Democracy Matters, and for his memoir, Brother West, Living and Loving Out Loud. His most recent book, Black Prophetic Fire, offers an unflinching look at 19th and 20th century African-American leaders and their visionary legacies. Dr. West is also the co-host of a weekly podcast with Dr. Tricia Rose of The Tightrope. And during this podcast, they take the time to welcome listeners and guests as thought collaborators with revered hosts and public intellectuals. Dr. West is also a frequent guest on The Bill Maher Show, CNN, C-SPAN, and Democracy Now! He has the passion to communicate to a vast variety of publics in order to keep alive the legacy of Martin Luther King Jr., a legacy of telling the truth, of bearing witness to love and justice. You, Dr. West, have been a role model to so many of us here today. Thank you and welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so very much. What a blessing, what an honor, and what a privilege to be here. What a major force for good the Puente Project has been. I can't believe you actually been here 25 years, my dear sister. My God, you must have started in junior high school and then just went on from there. But we salute your visionary leadership. I want to acknowledge my dear sister Grace. I thought that Dr. Villanueva was magnificent from Lee College, and of course the Chancellor, Chancellor May. I am who I am because somebody loved me, and somebody cared for me, somebody attended to me, and to know that all of my brothers and sisters who are part of the Puente Project, they have persons who love them too, who cared for them too, who attended them too. And your loved ones constitute your major source of reference, your major criteria as to what you define yourself to be, the belief in yourself, the confidence in yourself, the acknowledgement that there's wind at your back. And no matter what comes at you, the white supremacist bombardment, the male supremacist bombardment, envy, resentment, hatred, and contempt, you are fortified in order to fructify. You're fortified because you're well equipped intellectually, spiritually, morally, and you fructify by generating the fruits of the love inside of you, so that your love of wisdom, your love of truth, your love of beauty, I'm a Christian, love of God, love of something bigger than you is fructified by the fruits that flow from that love, the service that you render, the analysis you put forward as students, the papers that you write, the conversations that you have, the tears of joy and sometimes the tears of sorrow, and then at the same time, the fun, the laughter, the humor, the whole sense of what it means to be human. And each and every student ought to know that there's nobody like you. You are unique. You are singular. You are irreproducible. You're irreducible. There's only one of you in the history of the cosmos. And I come from a Black people, a people whose anthem is lift every voice, not lift every echo. Oh, we don't want our students just being an extension of an echo chamber where you simply copy everybody around you. You find yourself being an imitation. No, you are an original. And when you find your voice, just like your fingerprint, just like your uniqueness, just like your singularity, there's something for you to do in this world, in space and time, on this globe that only you can do. And it's up to you to find your voice. Now, I come from a blues people. You can't be a blues woman like Ma Rainey. You can't be a jazz man like John Coltrane. You can't be Kendrick Lamar. You can't be Erykah Badu unless you find your own voice, something inside of you, you wrestling with the dark corners of your own soul and transfigured and transmuted in such a way that you provide it as a gift to the world. That's what the students of Puente are all about. Now, I'm from the chocolate side of Sacramento, California, Glen Elder, and then later on Southland Park Drive for two years, and then on to college. But the greatest honor I have ever had in my life is to be the second son of Irene and Clifton West, and to be the brother of Clifton and Cynthia and Cheryl, and the father of Clifton and Zaytoon. Why do I say that? Because again, you got to be fortified. We are living in an age of catastrophes, ecological catastrophe, fire, increasing waters moving into on the beaches, the air pollution, the water pollution, the corporate greed that is disproportionately contributing to the undercutting of our environment. We're living in possible nuclear catastrophe. We got Trump with his finger on the button and Putin with his finger on the button. I think both of them are gangsters. When I say gangster, I'm not calling them names. I'm not calling them names. It's an objective condition. A gangster is someone who has very little sense of moral standards, very little sense of virtue, believes they can say anything and do anything and get away with it. There's a difference between a gangster and a hypocrite. Hypocrisy is a compliment that vice pays to virtue. A hypocrite wants to hide and disguise what they're doing and act as if they're virtuous. A gangster just doesn't give a dang. A gangster just a bully. Do anything, manipulate, obsessed with the 11th commandment, thou shalt not get caught. It's survival of the slickest. That's Putin. That's Trump. That's Bolsonaro in Brazil. We can go on and on and on. These various autocratic, despotic figures. That's the kind of world we're living in. But never be surprised by evil. Never be paralyzed by despair. Yes. But your grandparents knew something even worse, and they bounced back strong. Now I know, should I should I stop and give you a chance to ask questions? You let me know, my dear sister.
Okay, I will, Dr. West. I do have, you mentioned so many powerful things, and one was your upbringing. And, as you know, in Puente means bridge in Spanish. In your book, Living Out Loud and Loving Out Loud, there's a chapter you've titled The Bridge, where you use the bridge as a metaphor. And you say, a symbol of the fragility of life and easy to fall to death. You also share how you dislike walking across that bridge, yet you did every day to reach your elementary school. Our students are also walking across a metaphorical bridge. They are also dealing, as you know, with extraordinary challenges of unreliable internet, police brutality, immigration issues, and possible food and housing insecurity. What was your motivation for going over that bridge every day? How do you move forward during these challenging times?
It was a wonderful question. I've never been asked that question in my life, because I must say it was one of the most terrifying experiences in my life. I was 5 years old. I was going to kindergarten, and I had to walk over this bridge that had no protection whatsoever, and they had these major cars and trucks going by all the time, and I was scared to death. I really was. I would say a prayer just as a Christian and say, Lord, be with me, equip me. Don't remove the bridge. Just give me the strength to get over the bridge. And then I would just step out on nothing and hope I could land on something. I had faith. I had faith in myself. I had faith in something bigger than me. And I had a memory of mom and dad and the others who said, Little Ronnie, I was called Little Ronnie at that time rather than Cornel. Little Ronnie, don't you worry. Don't you worry. You just walk across that bridge. You're going to be all right. You do it once, you do it twice. It's going to get easier and easier and easier. I said, well, I don't know about that. Oh, I don't know. It's going to be hard. But then I had some close partners because I wasn't there alone. I had Roosevelt. You see, I had Sharon. I had Barbara and the others. I said, I tell you what, let's go over this bridge together. So I wouldn't be all, but let's go together. So we all got together. We all in kindergarten. We just on our way to get some graham crackers and milk. You know what I mean? We just playing with blocks and things. This is a long time ago, so we didn't have computers in kindergarten and things. We just had some crayons and paper and what have you. So we all got together so that when you lift your voice, you're affirming your personality, which is distinctly yours, but you want to be in solidarity with others. You can never do it alone. No one is ever self-made, just like no one ever gives birth to themselves. No one ever teaches themselves their own language. We did it together. So we started walking over that bridge together. And then when I got alone, I said, shoot, I could make it over here. But of course, then as I got older, what did I do? I made sure that the young folk who were scared of that bridge, who were younger than me, that I could be there with them. You see, very important, because that's part of being fortified. The fortification is not just about you. You get help fortified by others, and you help fortify others. So you want to uplift, empower, enable others in that way. And in a certain sense, metaphorically speaking, our very lives become a kind of bridge.
Right. Thank you. You know, we also don't want to ignore, Dr. West, what's in front of us today. The most recent injustices of the killing of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, you spoke about this with Michael Moore on your podcast. You know, for some of our students, it might be hard to find the right words to explain what we're feeling and to also explain the rage of people of color. You know, why is there so much rage? How do we process this anger that we're feeling? How do we not lose sight of what's in front of us? And how do we do this? You talk a lot about this without harming ourselves and harming others. What do we learn? How do we move forward? And if you could also touch on something very powerful that you and Michael Moore spoke of, is the difference between justice and revenge. So during this time, how do we keep all that in mind as we move forward?
Yes, no, I appreciate that question. I mean, all of us have inside of us a light. I was blessed to write a song with one of the great funk masters, Bootsy Collins, a Funkadelic in Parliament, a song called Stars. Stars have no names, they shine. There's a light that can shine inside of us. Now, Sly Stone said everybody's a star. That's what it means to everybody have a light. And I come out of a church that said, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. So that in the face of hatred, in the face of white supremacy, in the face of the public lynching that we saw with Brother George Floyd Jr., you see, we call that for what it is. It is evil. It's wrong. It's immoral. It's not just an individual act, that the country as a whole has always had a deep white supremacist impulse. It's had a positive impulse, critical of that as well, but it's had a deep white supremacist impulse against indigenous peoples, the stealing of their land, the subordination of their precious children, men and women, enslavement of Africans. California used to be Mexico. How did that happen? Well, the Mexican War. Well, let's understand what the Mexican War was. How did Mexico lose 1/2 of its territory? It was imperial expansion. It was war. It was armies. It was force. It was coercion. So when you actually see Brother George Floyd Jr. being publicly lynched, you see this as both a precious human being whose life is being snuffed out, but you also see a history of white supremacist forces and persons imposing their will on others, not just Black people, it's indigenous people, it's Spanish speaking, it's brown, it's Asians and others. So that this is a human thing of hatred, contempt, and the use of power in order for people to gain access to land, to resources, and to gain access to a certain psychic pleasure and identity of subordinating people. That's called the lust for domination. It's called the lust for power. So that when we see what is going on in terms of the racism that's running amok, and of course we should also note, you know, it deeply affects our Arab and Muslim and Jewish brothers and sisters too. But when it's running amok like that, you say, yes, as a person, I understand that I am in history, I'm a part of history, I must choose to be against that kind of hatred, against that kind of contempt. And that means you can't turn it to other forms. I mean, you got some people who are critical of racism, but not critical of sexism. Oh, so you're not gonna be consistent here. You're gonna be on fire when you're against white supremacy, but when it comes to male supremacy, you're going to cave in. And I would say the same thing in terms of our precious gay brothers and lesbian sisters and trans and others. Each person has a dignity and a sanctity. So we, again, fortifying ourselves in the face of these present ugly realities that you noted, you see. But we have to be in solidarity with people who are fighting. I know many of our brothers and sisters in the Puente Project were part of the marches that took place in 2,000 cities. It's a beautiful thing. It was all colors. Mm-hmm. It was all genders. It was all sexual orientation. It was all religious identities and non-religious. It was a beautiful thing. But we have to be part of the forces for good and do it in such a way that it's not done in the name of a kind of self-righteous do-goodism. You're doing it because you want to be a decent person. You're doing it because you want to be a person of integrity. And that's why it's not motivated by hatred and revenge. It's motivated by love and justice.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. And talking about that, you know, our communities, most of our students are Black and brown. You are familiar with the Motivational Project, and we work closely with them.
Beautiful.
What actions can our students take to foster that Black and brown solidarity, that pride together? Because it doesn't always happen naturally, and we have to make it happen. So what can our students, we have over 1,000 students here with us today, do to foster that between Black and brown communities?
Yes, I mean, Black students must never look at brown students through white supremacist lens, and brown students must never look at Black students through white supremacist lens. What we often get on TV and the films and so forth are the ugly stereotypes. And if precious Black brothers and sisters fall into the stereotypes of precious brown brothers and sisters, then you're never going to have the kind of solidarity that you need. And the same goes the other way. You see, if you get precious brown brothers and sisters looking at precious black brothers and sisters through stereotypical lens and accept all the ugly white racist stereotypes of black people, then you're not going to have the kind of solidarity. The second thing is, anytime there is a violation, an attack, or assault on a brown student, black students must be there to defend them because it's right, because you want to be persons who are decent and have integrity. Anytime a black student is attacked or assaulted, brown students must be there because you want to be a decent human being, because you want to be a person of integrity. That's how bonds of trust are created. And see, when you have bonds of trust, then the next thing you know, you really start liking each other. You get friendships and companionships and brotherhoods and sisterhoods. I'm blessed to work with the great Arturo O'Farrill, which is the Afro-Latin Jazz Orchestra out of New York. His father, Chico O'Farrill, founded Afro-Cuban jazz with Dizzy Gillespie. And we've traveled all around the country. He got a new album called 4 Questions. We talk about 4 questions at Du Bois with me doing spoken word. And half the band is brown or brown. Half the band is black. They come together for something so deep, so rich, the music that accents the best of who they are, so that they end up being brothers and sisters at the deepest artistic level. Well, you see, we need to learn from the artists.
Right.
We need to learn from the artists, because the artists are concerned about what? Truth and beauty. We got to be concerned about what? Truth and beauty. What is truth? The condition of truth is to allow suffering to speak, to unflinchingly look, to honestly view the world, and still muster the courage to love truth and beauty. What is beauty? A fundamental response at its deepest level to terror and trauma. And black and brown folk, they've been a hated people, a terrorized people, a stigmatized people. But what have we done at our best? We have dished out love warriors. That's who Cesar Chavez was. Dolores Huerta was. Celia Cruz was. Tito Puente was. Those are love warriors. That's who John Coach. That's who Aretha Franklin. That's who Stevie Wonder.
Absolutely. When you talk about keeping the legacy of Martin Luther King going, what do you mean? What are some things that you want us to know as we move forward? Some deep ingrained legacy that Martin Luther King left us with.
Yeah, Brother Martin believed that justice was what love looks like in public. And this is very important to understand the relation between justice and love, because any justice that's only justice soon degenerates into something less than justice. You need something more profound than justice in order to keep the justice movement going. And that's what love is all about. That's what care is all about. That's what concern is all about. I've been blessed to teach in prisons for 37 years. And the first question I asked the brothers on the first day of class is, how many in here take a bullet for their mama? All of them raise their hand. I said, okay, I'm in the right place. I'm in the right place. Y'all understand what love is. You understand that what the most fundamental, elemental force in the world is all about. Now, you then want others to be treated fairly. You want others to be treated justly. But the motivation behind that is the love. So that you don't ever want to just talk about justice. You want to talk about the love that undergirds the justice. Now, at the same time, tenderness is what love feels like in private. So in one's relations with one another, you got to be tender. See, Otis Redding, one of the great artistic geniuses of the 20th century, you sing a song called Try a Little Tenderness, Sweetness, Kindness. All of those elements go hand in hand with what Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy was all about. Because Martin was a tender man. He was a gentle man. He was a sweet man. And coming out of the Black tradition, He was a soulful man. The black folk had no monopoly on soul, but we got a whole lot of it at our best. And what is soul? Soul is the sharing of a soothing, empowering sweetness against the backdrop of grim catastrophe. So that the sweetness that you share and the works that you do, the words that you say, are those to try to encourage people. You know, I used to go to Vacation Bible School in Shiloh Baptist Church on 9th Avenue in Oak Park, the chocolate side of Sacto. And Sarah Ray used to tell me all the time, as my Sunday school teacher, she said, if the kingdom of God is within you, then everywhere you go, you ought to leave a little heaven behind. Oh, that's profound.
Yes.
She didn't have a PhD. She didn't go to Harvard. She didn't have to. Her profundity cuts deeper than many of those at Harvard. What does it mean to leave a little heaven behind? Intellectually, insights, discernment, morally, integrity, decency, spiritually, deep empathy, and authorizing a better reality than the reality in which you find yourself. And Puente itself says to the young folk, we love you. We affirm you. We want you to authorize a different reality than you find yourself, because your brilliance, because your empathy, because your ability to work is going to help create a better world and a better reality for you and your parents, your family, your community, and you become an extension of the best of your history. Ooh, how beautiful. That's why Puente is such a force for good.
Absolutely. Part of our philosophy in Puente is to make sure we love all our students. And if anything else, that's how we start all our classes, and our faculty do a great job of doing that. And you also know that Puente is about helping students get to their four-year institutions. So you have a lot of insight. You know, what are some of the skills students need to sharpen before they go to college or while in college? And what are some of the skills that you think are often undervalued that we need to, besides, you know, the obvious, what are some undervalued skills that every student needs to think about as they continue with their journey in college?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the first thing to keep in mind is you want to be clear about your calling. Each student is called to be great, not just successful, but great. And greatness has to do with the character of who you are. It has to do with your soul. Then, to be successful, you got to have discipline. You got to be devoted to mastering the reading, the writing, the skills, spending that time in the laboratory, those mathematical formulas, all the different skills required to be successful, so you then use your success for moral and spiritual greatness. And as we said before, that's that light inside of you, because greatness is nothing but just the light that shines. And then you say to yourself, well, who are some of the great folk that people look up to, you see, you know, now. Again, I'd mentioned Brother Kendrick Lamar. You know, he's named after Eddie Kendricks, one of the great singers of the Temptations. His mother, deeply shaped by the brother from Birmingham. What did Kendrick do? Well, the brother used to rap 10, 12 hours every day. He was trying to catch up with his heroes, with Tupac, catch up with Rakim, catch up with those artists who influenced him, Dre, Snoop, and others. What does Erykah Badu do? She's got to listen to Billie Holiday, listen to Aretha Franklin. She got to listen to Gladys Knight over and over and over again. Why? Because she needs to practice. Our students, that's precious students at Puente, want you to be great, successful, and build on the examples of the great ones who came before, which is greatness of character, soul intact, full of love, and mastery of reading. Read voraciously, intensely, read with joy, with fun, spend time in that laboratory, and then come out fortified in order to fructify.
Thank you. Dr. West, what other advice do you have for us, just not only as students, but as people, as we move forward through these difficult times? We don't know what's going to happen in a couple of weeks. We're all feeling really anxious. You've talked about coming together, being together, loving each other. What else can we do to help our country move forward, regardless of the outcome that we see a couple of weeks from now when we all go to the voting polls? How do we come together to make sure we're on the right track?
Yeah, I think we need to have hope. We've got to have hope, because the hope and the love and the joy go hand in hand. Now, hope is not the same as optimism. See, optimism is a little bit too narrow. Optimism cannot sustain you, especially in the face of catastrophe. I think we have to learn from the blues folks. Remember now, the blues ain't nothing but a personal narrative of a catastrophe lyrically expressed. See, B.B. King says, nobody loves me but my mama, and she might be jiving too. But he's full of hope. He got style. He got smile. He got a tradition. He's got his guitar. He's got his band. Now, what is hope different? How is hope different than optimism? When you are a prisoner of hope, rather than an optimist looking for evidence that allow you to infer things are going to get better, then when you're full of hope, you got a love inside of you, a fire inside of you that the world cannot put out. You got joy inside of you that the world can never take away. You got precious memories of those who came before, who loved you and sacrificed for you. Nobody can take those memories away. They can put you on death row, put you in solitary confinement, but you still got those memories, that fire, a joy inside you the world can never snuff out. That's what young folk must have in order to deal with this grimness that we're dealing with. And that's precisely what those who came before had. Because I come from a folk who were enslaved for 244 years. The average slave died at 26 years old. They worked from sun up to sundown, forms of torture, and yet they still had hope. They sang, wade in the water. They sang, swing low, sweet chariot. You all know the spirituals. Then they created the blues under American terrorism and the lynching. Then they had rhythm and blues. Then they had jazz. Now we got hip hop. Look what these brothers and sisters doing under the hood conditions of decrepit schools and inadequate housing and families shattered and not enough love in the community. Oh, here comes Biggie. Here comes Rhapsody. Here comes Missy. Voices raised. No echoes. Voices raised. Now I'm accenting the music because music in many ways is the dominant form of transcendence for young folk. But if you come from the church, you got music and you got your faith. You come from the mosque, you got your faith. You come from the synagogue, you got your faith. If indeed you're secular, if you're agnostic, if you're atheistic, you can still be full of love, still be full of vision. Hold on to your hope and never forget that hope is as much a verb as a virtue. It's not some abstract thing you try to grab. It's a verb, it's a form of action. You got to stay in motion. You got to be in movement. And a lot of time the hope itself is more an effect of being in motion than the hope prior to you being in motion. You got to get in the funk, in the mess, in the world, in life, wrestling with the impure, but still acknowledging that with your vision, your acknowledgement of your voice, your uniqueness, your singular presence in the world, that you can be a force for good by holding on to your hope, by spreading your love of truth and love of beauty and love of goodness, being a kind, loving, sweet, soulful person. That's Puente right there.
Right. Well, Dr. West, I want to just end by saying that usually we have had the Motivational Conference going on for over 25 years. And this is a time, the reason we have it during this time is because students are in the midterms, mid-year, mid of the semester, and they're looking for that extra motivation, that extra love to get them through December. And I just want to say, you have filled our cup. You have filled our hearts. You have given us things to think about. You have given us conversations to take back to our classroom. And you have given us the hope to move forward together as a community that cares for each other, but also cares about this country. Is there any last words you would like to say? And again, thank you. I can tell you, you are probably on all our bucket list. And now that we have heard you and seen you, it has been such an honor, sir. Thank you for all you do. We will continue to follow you and continue to watch you. Is there anything else you would like to say?
I just want to end with a genuine salute to you, my dear sister, and the leaders of Puente sustaining this interlocking relation and affiliation of these precious students. And I want to end with a salute to the students. That I know that the future is in good hands because of who you are, because of how broadly you see, how deeply you feel, and how courageously you act now and in the future. What a blessing to be here. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Dr. West, and we hope to have you back again in person.
Oh, I know, after the pandemic, isn't that the truth?
Yes. We're going to work hard to make that happen. And now it's recorded, so we're going to work hard to make it happen. Before I sign off, I want to thank the Puente staff. I want to thank our teachers and counselors from both high school, community college, and middle school, who, again, like Grace said, are at the heart of our program. Thank you for your hard work and dedication. You are on the ground here with the students. To the students, I can only say you matter so much to us, and we miss you so much. I admire all of the students that are here for continuing with your education during these really difficult times. I know for some of you, it is a sacrifice, but just know that your sacrifice also comes with a lot of resilience, determination, and a lot of leadership. And because of it, not only will you be stronger, but our whole community will be stronger. So gracias. Gracias for being here with us today. Gracias for your love. Gracias to Dr. May, to Dr. Villanueva, to Blas Guerrero, to Gretchen from UCOP, to Jane Alsop, and all the Puente staff for helping today happen. We're still not over. We still have Las Cafeteras, which we are so excited to see. And I'm going to turn it over to Grace. Love you all. Goodbye.
Thank you so much for such a powerful conversation between Julia Vergara and Dr. Cornel West. I know wherever you may have tuned in today, it was just an electrifying message of hope and love. And I actually wrote some lines that I want to share with you if I can this morning. The most powerful elemental force in the world is love, and Puente says to its students, we love you. Puente is a force for good. So these are just lines that resonated for me, and I want to share them with you. Each student is called to be great. Hope is a verb and is in motion. And lastly, for our students, Dr. Cornel West addressed you and said, you are an original. There is something for you to do in this universe. And with all of this community support, I know that you will do this. Before we go on to Las Cafeteras, I do just want to make one special announcement. As I was calling out the roll call, I missed one college, and we made an error in doing this. We never want to exclude anyone, and as Julia and everyone mentioned, we see everybody and we want to make everyone feel that they belong and they're included and that they're part of the familia. And we want to sincerely apologize to Palomar College. We recognize you, we see you, Palomar College in San Marcos, and we want to be sure that we acknowledge and welcome our Palomar College Puentistas, mentors, faculty, staff, and administrators. Now we're going to move on to Las Cafeteras this morning. They're, again, another powerful speaker. Like many of you, Las Cafeteras members have overcome so much along their journey. And now they use their stories and their talents to bring about social change. Born and raised in east of Los Angeles River, Las Cafeteras are remixing root music and telling modern day stories to create a vibrant musical fusion with a uniquely East LA sound and positive message. Their Afro-Mexican beats, rhythms, and rhymes deliver inspiring lyrics that document stories of a community seeking love and justice in the concrete jungle of Los Angeles. Las Cafeteras use music as a vehicle to build bridges among different cultures and communities and create a world where many worlds fit. Let's prepare to fall in love with Las Cafeteras.
We are Las Cafeteras, a band of friends, children of immigrants, and indigenous families. We're storytellers from Los Angeles, singing songs of our communities, migration, and love.
I'm Hector with Las Cafeteras. And while some folks are trying to build walls, we're trying to build bridges, y'all. Because we firmly believe we're all the same, because we're all different. Like the Zapatistas say, we want to create a world where many worlds fits. Because we all come from different places. We got different faces. Some of us wear braces. And some of us still trying to tie our shoelaces. So I want to invite the Cafeteras to share where they come from. You know, where their folks be from. So I'll start with me. My name is Hector Flores. I was born in a little barrio in East LA called City Terrace in Santa Marta Hospital. My mama's from Morelia, Michoacán, Mexico. My pops is from San Luis Rio Colorado in Sonora, right on the border. I went to Cal State University, Long Beach, got my degree in Chicano Studies. I played the jarana tercera. All right, who's next?
I am Denise, and I'm from Southeast LA. My mom is from Jalisco, Mexico, and my dad from Baja California. I went to Cal State LA, and I got my degree in social work, and then I went all the way to Chicago, and I got my master's in clinical social work from Loyola. I play the jarana primera, and I dance zapateado.
Hey everybody, I'm Jose. I'm from Oxnard, California. My parents are from the state of Jalisco in Mexico. I study mechanical engineering at Cal State LA, and today I'm playing cajon.
Hi, my name's Leah Rose Gallegos, and I'm from Highland Park. My mother was born in Lakewood, Florida, and my father was born in El Paso, Texas. I'm Mexican, Native American, Polish, Russian, and Jewish. I'm a Chicana. I went to USC on a full scholarship to play soccer. I majored in Chicano studies, and I play the quijada.
Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is David Jesus Flores, and I'm Hector's brother. So you already know where my parents are from. I went to school at East LA Community College, and then I graduated. And then I went to San Diego State University, and then I graduated. And then I went to Cal State Long Beach, and then I graduated. And now I'm a doctoral student getting my PhD at UCLA in Chicana and Chicano Studies. I'm with Las Cafeteras, and I play this instrument called the requinto, and it sounds something like... All right, here we go. Hit it, Cano. When my brothers and I, when we were younger, we used to go work with my dad. He was a carpenter, like Jesus, and he had a big Mexican bigote that I always wanted. And my dad, like a lot of other undocumented immigrants, was proud of the work that he did, that he could build something from nothing. I remember my dad would always tell us, "Hey, mijo, get your hands out of your pocket y ponte a trabajar." My dad died about 5 years ago, never able to get his legal citizenship. He got caught with drugs when he was 18 years old, an unforgiving crime for someone searching for the American dream. I never got as good as my dad in carpentry. I could never grow that big Mexican bigote. But I knew I wanted to build something. And I wanted to clap back at those that would talk about my dad as gangbangers, as criminals, as lazy. Lazy. I remember my dad used to tell me, "Hey, mijo, how long does it take for a Mexican to..." Oh, they're done. You see, my dad used to love to tell jokes, stories, and histories, but those all went with him. There's a saying that when an elder dies, a library is gone forever. I never got that chance to tell my dad's story, but he never let me put my head down, put my hands in my pocket. "Hey, ponte a trabajar," my dad used to tell me. And you know what? That's why we started Las Cafeteras, because we wanted to tell the stories of our communities, of our neighborhoods, of our peoples. And I didn't want anybody to tell that story about my dad, about who he was, why he came, what he was doing here. I'm gonna tell that story. I mean, who's gonna write the books and the songs about the cucarachas, about the lowriders, about the zapateados? Who's gonna write books about the smell of vegan tacos and churros and copal? Yeah, I said vegan tacos. We gotta tell our stories. And we found out that the world needs our help to understand that immigrants feel love and pain, joy, vergüenza, and they sure as hell don't like living in cages, just like everybody else. We gotta tell our own stories, because if we don't, somebody will. And that's what we encourage you all to do, to write your own stories. Tell us something that's never been told. Remember something that's been forgotten. Turn his story into her story, into our story. And it ain't gonna be easy. But like my dad always used to tell me, "Hey, mijo, put that phone down. Let's get to work."
Si fuera presidente, honestamente, si fuera presidente, para mi gente, si fuera presidente, honestamente, presidente, para mi gente.
If I was president, if I was president, I'd cancel rent, bail out my people, not save from the steeple. Laptops for raza so they can stay in casa. Free education, universal health care, no hesitation. And my first lady would be my mom, cause she'd smack me in the head if I was dropping bombs. And I'd free my poor black and brown kids that got caught up in 3 strikes. And when they get out, I'ma give them free bikes so they can ride to the future, not to the past. Yo, yo, yo. Me gusta la lima, me gusta el limón, pero no me gusta tanta corrupción. Me gusta la lima, me gusta el limón.
Si fuera presidente, honestamente, si fuera presidente, para mi gente, si fuera presidente, honestamente, presidente, para mi gente.
Breathe in deep. Remember that in these 2 hands is the power to destroy or create. Another world is possible, so why wait on a president or Congress to come save us when we are the ones we've been waiting for? And the only way to know how far we can go is if we put our power together like this. Put your power together like this. If you're at home, clap along like this. Put your power together like this. Whole world, clap along. Me gusta la lima, me gusta limón, pero no me gusta tanta corrupción. Me gusta la lima, me gusta limón, pero no me gusta tanta corrupción. Me gusta la lima, me gusta limón, pero no me gusta tanta corrupción. Me gusta la lima, me gusta limón, pero no me gusta tanta corrupción. Me gusta la lima, me gusta limón, pero no me gusta tanta corrupción. Me gusta la lima, me gusta limón, pero no me gusta tanta corrupción. Sego. What's up, y'all? I'm Daniel with the band. I play a bunch of different instruments and I sing and MC. And I just wanted to thank y'all for showing up this morning. It's important that we remember that we're a part of a community, that we, even though we maybe aren't chilling in the same spaces, we're here online and connecting. Remember that we have a shared past, a shared future, and we make that future by the things that we do today, the ways that we act and what we make of the time that we're living in. Soon, what happened in 2020, what happens in 2021 is going to become history. 10 years from now, kids are going to be learning about what did people do in that time? What did they make of it? What did they stand up for? What were they silent about? And so I want to just remind us that each and every one of us, you have a story, you have the pen in your hand, and whatever you do with this moment, that's what's going to speak. So speak loud, stand tall, remember where you came from, and remember where you're headed. Appreciate y'all.
I turned 18 in 1999, so I've done my fair share of voting. Do I always get the results I want? No. Will I vote to the day I die? Hell yeah. As Latinas, Latinos, Latinx folks in this country, we've been held back for far too long. Now, I don't believe that the ballot or the vote is our one-way ticket to freedom, but it's a part of the puzzle. As Latinas, Latinos, Latinx folks in this country, we have to understand the power that we hold. As young people, you are the ones swinging the vote. I'm on my way out, you all are on your way in, and we need each other. Puentistas, we're counting on you to get involved, get educated, inform the folks around you, and agitate the norm. We need something different in this country, and we're building towards that. It's so exciting. Voting matters. Your voice, your lives, and all of our existence is going to change the world. Go vote, get educated, stay informed. Let's do this.
If someone were to ask me why I vote, it's kind of a weird question. It's like asking me why I drink water. I drink water because it's healthy for me. It's good for me. I could choose not to drink water and therefore choose in my unhealthy practice and behavior. Voting's the same way, man. Voting is participating in the health of a society. I could choose not to vote, but then I'm actively engaging in participating in an unhealthy way. And at the same time, there's corporations spending billions of dollars, yo, with a B. I said B. Trying to keep poor people of color from voting. If your vote didn't count, why are people spending billions of dollars to stop poor people of color from voting? And voter suppression, trying to gut out the 1968 Voting Rights Act. Nah, I'm gonna vote, and I'm gonna vote for all those who can and cannot, because that's my right. Handles. Hola, Puentistas. Did you know that in the darkest of nights also produces the brightest of stars? Stars only shine in the dark. And sometimes when the world feels like it's really dark, that just means it's our time to shine. We are the ones we've been waiting for. It's on us to make this world a better place, a world where many worlds fit. And part of that work includes voting. Be engaged, be active, be involved. And if you can't vote, that doesn't mean you stop. You get your family to vote, you get your friends to vote, you get your community to vote. When my parents first came to this country, they were undocumented. They weren't allowed to vote. But I was born here. I can utilize that privilege to make sure I represent for the people who cannot. That's part of the work. That's what we got to do. So, if we're going to build a country, a world, a society that's for justice and freedom for all, not just people with papers, not just people who got money, but justice and freedom for all, it's going to be on us. So we want to share this video that's just about that. It's called Long Time Coming.
A change is coming. Can you feel it?
There's a time to fight, time to write, undo all the things that the devil made right. Brown man, black man, yellow man, blue. Everything I thought was true was based on a lie I learned in school. We all be from Africa. Scientists can back it up. Race is a concept created to oppress, made by the white man, so they could do this less. Take color, land, and respect. Colonize culture, knee on my neck. They wanna take us out, we about to get lit. You know the time is 8:46.
You know that's right. You know that's right. You know the time is 8:46. You know that's right.
Change in the car. Change in the car. We ain't gonna stop. We ain't gonna stop.
It's been a long time coming. It's been too long. It's been a long time coming. It's been too
Yeah,
long.
for the ancients to attainments of today's kin tenacious. We rebels raised in a stolen nation. They shameless since the days when there was enslavement. The anguish, it don't make sense. So we can't quit with race. Let's counterattacking the heinous, racist, ignoramus. Can't detain us, courageous on a daily basis. The greatest, we say this. It's in our destiny. It awaits us. Rather be hated for being real than love for being fake. Made it this far in truth and good faith. Don't sell yourself short. We are not what they say. I know change is gonna come. Let's make it work the way we can't wait on them do. Change is ours to take. Each one teach one from the cradle to the grave. With blood, sweat, and tears we have overpaid. Now it's time to collect. Give me my change.
A change in the car. A change in the car. We ain't gonna stop. And we ain't gonna stop.
It's been a long time. It's been a long time. It's been a long time coming, coming, coming. Sing it with me now. Say it with me now. Sing it with me. So let me hear you sing. Let me hear you. So let me hear you sing. Let me hear you. So let me
Just cry with me, don't die with me. Put your fist in the air and fight for me. The cops in the streets kill violently. The judges in the courts, they lie to me. Everybody in the streets just ride with me. The tears from my face fall silently. Close your eyes so we can see. Close your eyes and let's get free.
Change in the car. A change in the car.
It's been a long time coming. It's been too long. It's been a long time coming. It's been a long time coming. Sing it with me now. It's been a long time. Say it with me now. It's been a long time coming. Sing it with me now. So let me hear you sing.
Thank you so much, Las Cafeteras, for using your talents for social good. Thank you so much for addressing our Puente students. Some of the messages I heard, Puentistas, we are counting on you. Understand your power. We are the ones we have been waiting for. And you have the power to speak loudly. At the same time, drink water and go vote. I really love these messages. Now for our Puente students, Las Cafeteras will be returning to address you in a larger session the Friday after Election Day, November 6th. So we're going to go ahead and gather everyone together. The event will be live streamed as well, so we'll have more details on that. Thank you again to Las Cafeteras for being here with us today. And finally, as we move towards our college workshops this afternoon, I want to thank the Puente State Office for their efforts and for all of their work on creating this conference. In particular, Ann Romero. I also want to thank our Puente partners, UC Davis, our colleagues at the Office of Undergraduate Admissions there, as well as a huge shout out to our technical guru, Dan Vong. We couldn't do this without you. I know we couldn't have done this without Dan Vong. Lastly, this conference was also greatly supported by Dr. Blas Guerrero, Director of Strategic Diversity, Recruitment Initiatives, and Transfer Recruitment here at Davis. In fact, Blas has been such a strong partner. I don't remember when he wasn't a partner of Puente. So it isn't just for this conference, but a long-term ongoing partnership for which we're very grateful. Please help me welcome Dr. Blas Guerrero.
Buenos dias, Puentistas. I am so elated to have you here. I wish that you were all with me today on campus. We were always looking forward to having our Puentistas here. And I want to welcome all the Puentistas from all of the entire state, as well as Washington and Tejanos. I have a lot of family in the Valley. But I wanted to thank, first and foremost, our Chancellor May, was one of our biggest supporters for being here with us today, as he wanted to be here live with you, just like Cornel. Very impressive they're here. And then I was very, very, very impressed with Dr. Linda Villanueva and the poem. It was very inspiring, very sad, very everything. But at the end of the day, where she's at today and what she's been able to accomplish, it just made my day. It was awesome to have her. Cornel West, what I would say, what us OGs might say, what the veteranos might say, really dropped some knowledge on you today. And I'm hoping you really take that in. There's so many things that he said that was just incredible. If that didn't inspire you to know, no matter where you're at right now and how you're feeling, you can accomplish anything in the world. The most important thing is, remember, you have a big support system. Take advantage of those around you to help you move on. And most importantly, give back to other folks behind you. Las Cafeteras, what could I say? How would I describe them? Brilliant, genius. And I'm not talking about the music, and I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about their mind and the message they're giving. For your generation, that's the equivalent of, for my generation, El Triato Campesino, Luis Valdez, Dolores Huerta, Cesar Chavez. They came to our community when we needed somebody to speak for those that were not being spoken for. And I see Las Cafeteras just like Teatro Campesino was back in the day, and they're gonna be around for a long time. All of you will be inviting and talking to your children about listening to Las Cafeteras and their message. I guarantee you, just like I take my kids to go see some of Luis Valdez's productions today. Really important. So I am so elated to have all you guys here. It's been a great day. I've been inspired. I've been fired up. Hey, hasta me puse una corbata para ustedes today. I haven't had to wear a tie in a long time here with COVID, but I'm excited. Now we're gonna really think about the next steps for you guys. Today is really focused on the University of California. Doesn't matter where you end up in school. The most important thing is that you get your college degree. That will change your life forever, I guarantee you. I'm a poor kid that was born in Mexico and brought to the United States and grew up in Ventura County with farm worker parents. And my life has just been changed tremendously by moving on to education. My madrecita would say, mijo, por eso venimos a este país, para que tú estudies. Tienes que estudiar. And through all the hard times and everything I've done, I continue to work hard, even when it was more challenging, all the way to getting a PhD from the University of California at Berkeley. And so you can do that as well. It's just about how hard you want to work. Nobody's going to ask you how long it took you. All you have to do is just be able to get that college degree. And today, that's what the Puente Motivational Conference is all about. And we're elated to have you here. I am so excited. You're going to have the opportunity to meet 9 of my best friends. I brought folks from all 9 colleges to be with us here today. And they're very excited. We've been meeting and preparing for this day. If it would have been live, we would have been having dinner last night at Davis. We wouldn't have a chance to do that, but they're all here. And we've been preparing to be able to meet with you. And I'm really, really excited about that. 5 of our campuses are ranked in the top 10 public universities in the country. The other ones are right there on that verge. So we're talking about some of the best universities in the country. And what are they looking for? They're looking for students like you. They're looking for students like you to come and be part of our community. Puentistas make awesome, awesome UC students. We don't care where you go. You can go to CSU, you can go to private school, you can go to anywhere you want. But we want you to think about, seriously consider to come to the University of California. If you come here, you will forever, ever be known as a scholar. They'll never be able to take that diploma away. That diploma is going to follow you to your grave. The most important thing that you can have in your life, not only academically, not only economically, but also how you're going to be seen in the community. What's it going to take? It's going to take a little bit of hard work, but very, very doable. If a cabezón like me could do it, I know you could do it. So right now, we were going to have the opportunity for you guys to take a short little break. And then I'm going to show you guys got an email. I'm going to show you a little flyer. But then behind me here, we're going to put a slideshow to show you what colleges we have and the clusters that we're locked in. And we hope that you guys can come and visit. And we have 3 different groups. And you got an email from your counselor or your advisor. If Don can pop in that slide, here we go. So here's where we're going to be asking you to go for. We have broken this up into 3 different groups. We have my colleagues from UC Berkeley, UC Merced, and UC Santa Barbara together in group 1. And then, of course, my colleagues from UC Davis, UC San Diego, and UC Santa Cruz for group 2. And then we have UC Irvine, UCLA, and Riverside. You can pick one of those. We're going to start about 11:45. We're going to give you a 10-minute break to go out, a 9-minute break now to go out. And about 11:40, I suggest you log in because we have about almost 2,000 students on with us today. So it's going to take a little while for you to come in. So please go back and register for these and just log in a few minutes, take a little break, get something to drink, come back. My colleagues are my best friends in all 9 of our campuses this year. And we have a lot of folks who are going to be on the chatter box, the Q&A box, to be able to answer some of your questions. So prepare questions you might have for the campuses. And we really want you to hopefully apply next year. Many of you are on track to apply next year and be part of our family. Those of you Tejanos and those of you from Washington that want to apply to UC Davis or to any of our campuses, the UC campuses, we'd love to have you here. For those of you that would like to get more information about UC Davis, we actually have a special webinar coming up next week for the Puente Community College students. And you're going to see that next. So if you're interested in getting more information about Davis itself, get your phone out and just scan that flyer right here. And then you can scan this and it'll take you straight to our registration link. We also have a couple webinars that'll be going on. We have one if you're interested in pursuing a career in medicine. We have some of our physicians from our medical school that are going to be talking about their journey, being Chicanas, Latinas, Latinos, Latinx community, and their journey to become physicians. We also have a Latino who's a dean of our law school, and he is actually going to be putting together a webinar for you if you're interested in going into law. So the same link that you're going to have here, you're going to also be able to register for some of those events. And you're going to find similar events once you get to meet with some of our college reps in a minute.